The scream came from across the parking lot, sharp, terrified, and small. Ethan froze mid-step, the grocery bag slipping from his hands as oranges rolled across the asphalt. His 6-year-old daughter, Mia, clutched his sleeve and whispered, trembling, "Daddy, please help her." Without thinking, he turned toward the sound. 2 men were dragging a woman near the alley behind the store. The daylight burned through the winter clouds, and every instinct inside him ignited. For a moment, the world shrank to that single cry for help, and the desperate eyes of his daughter watching him. Before we dive deeper, if you believe in kindness, courage, and second chances, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Chronicles. Every act of support helps stories like this reach more hearts. Ethan sprinted, his boots slammed against the ground as he shouted for them to stop. The men turned, rough, angry, and ready to fight. But Ethan wasn't thinking about fear. He was thinking about Mia's voice, the trembling in her words, the helpless girl crying in pain. He lunged at the first man, his fists fueled by something more than strength, by a father's instinct. The man swung back, but Ethan ducked and drove his shoulder forward, slamming him into a trash bin. The second man charged, but Ethan caught him with a punch that split the air. One fell, then the other. The girl, bruised and terrified, stumbled to her feet, clutching her torn purse. Mia stood at a distance, tears streaming down her cheeks. When Ethan turned to her, his chest heaved with exhaustion and adrenaline. The woman he'd saved whispered a trembling thank you, then limped away toward the store entrance, where someone had called for help. By the time the police arrived, Ethan was sitting on the curb beside Mia, holding her hand, trying to calm the storm in his chest. He didn't want her to see the violence, but she had already seen something else. Her father risking everything for a stranger. That night, after putting Mia to bed, Ethan sat in their tiny apartment's kitchen, staring at the flickering bulb above. The silence was heavy. He worked 2 jobs, one as a warehouse loader, another delivering food at night. Ever since his wife passed away 3 years ago from cancer, he'd done everything to keep Mia's world safe, warm, and bright. But lately the bills piled faster than his paychecks. And now, after the fight, his knuckles were bruised, his body sore, and his future uncertain. The next morning, when he arrived at the warehouse, his manager pulled him aside. Someone had filmed the incident. It was all over social media. The video showed him standing tall in front of the 2 attackers, protecting the woman. The clip had gone viral overnight. Ethan's stomach tightened. He didn't want attention. He just wanted peace for his daughter. But fate had already decided that his quiet life was about to change forever. Later that afternoon, a sleek black car pulled up outside the warehouse. Everyone turned to look. From it stepped a woman in her early 30s, elegant but approachable, with a calm strength in her presence. She spoke to the foreman, then looked around until her eyes found Ethan. She walked toward him and smiled gently. "You probably don't recognize me," she said softly. "My name is Claire Reynolds. You helped my younger sister yesterday." Ethan blinked, his heart skipping. The woman he saved, she had mentioned her name, but in the chaos he hadn't remembered. Claire continued, "She told me what you did, that you risked yourself without hesitation. I came to thank you in person." Ethan nodded awkwardly, brushing dust from his shirt. "Anyone would have done the same," he said quietly. But Claire shook her head. "No," she replied, "not everyone would." The following day, there was a knock on the door. When he opened it, Claire stood there again, this time in a tailored suit, holding a small gift box. "I wanted to thank you properly," she said. Inside the box was a simple gold watch with the words "for courage that saves more than lives." Ethan hesitated, shaking his head. "I can't accept this," but Claire insisted. Then she looked around their modest apartment, the peeling wallpaper, the second-hand furniture, and said something that would change everything. "Ethan, come work for me." It turned out Claire wasn't just a grateful sister. She was the CEO of a growing logistics company, a business that handled nationwide shipping and needed someone trustworthy to oversee warehouse safety and employee welfare. She had read about his background, his years of experience, and most of all, his integrity. Ethan stared in disbelief. "I don't have a college degree," he said quietly. Claire smiled. I don't care about degrees. I care about people who do what's right when no one's watching. That night, when he told Mia, her eyes sparkled with excitement. So you're like a boss now? She asked, giggling. Ethan laughed for the first time in days. Not quite, but maybe I'll be working for a good one. Weeks passed, and Ethan settled into his new role. He learned quickly, helped improve safety procedures, and treated the staff with genuine respect. People looked up to him, not because of his title, but because of his humility. Claire visited often, sometimes bringing her sister Lily, who had recovered well. She and Mia became close, spending afternoons drawing together in the office break room. But one afternoon, another challenge came. A warehouse accident injured a young worker. While others panicked, Ethan took charge, calling for help, keeping the man calm until paramedics arrived. Later, when Claire heard what happened, she found him outside, sitting alone. "You always run toward the trouble," she said softly. Ethan looked at her with weary eyes. "Because I know what it feels like when no one does." In that quiet moment, something unspoken passed between them. Respect, gratitude, maybe something deeper. Over the following months, their bond grew naturally. Claire admired his strength and humility. Ethan admired her compassion and vision. They weren't from the same world, but both had been broken before. She had lost her parents young, and he had lost the love of his life. Together they found healing in small, quiet ways. If this story touched your heart, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Chronicles. Your support helps us spread more real stories of courage, love, and redemption. Weeks later, at the company's annual gathering, Claire announced Ethan's promotion to operations director, a position that meant stability, dignity, and a future. The hall erupted in applause. Ethan stood on stage, holding the same gold watch she had once given him, his eyes glistening. He looked out into the crowd where Mia sat beaming proudly, and Claire smiled from the front row. He took a deep breath and said, "I'm not here because I was brave. I'm here because kindness finds you when you least expect it. Sometimes all it takes is one choice to help, and the world gives that kindness back in ways you never imagined."